Merry Christmas, everyone. And December 25th also means that we are just 1 week away exactly from Alabama and Notre Dame in the National College Football Playoff semifinal. We got Ricky Green on the line from TideTalkSports.com. Please check out him and the rest of the staff over there, TideTalkSports.com. Merry Christmas, Ricky. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Mark. Merry Christmas to you. Ready to get this holiday stuff out of the way and get back focused in here on college football. Got some big stuff coming up.
Well, we're going to focus on college football right now. And the big transition, of course, from high school to the collegiate ranks. We've got Jayden Roberts, one of the best guards in the country, who was committed to the bad guys at one point, but looks like he may make a different decision today.
That's right, Mark. Jayden Roberts is one of the most elite guards in the country. From a physical perspective, he's one of those guys that you want to have off the bus first when you pull up. He's just a monster of a young man. Like you said a moment ago, decommitted from Auburn on early signing day. And since that point, all signs have been pointing towards Tuscaloosa. So hopefully Alabama fans will get some good news this afternoon when Jaeden announces his decision. I believe that he will roll with the Tide.
Jayden Roberts, the 14th rated guard in the country, according to the 247 Sports Composite, 38th rated player in Texas, top 250 player, regardless out of position out of Houston North Shore there in Texas. Kind of continues a narrative, Ricky, in regards to Nick Saban beating up on Tom Herman and Jimbo Fisher there in Texas.
Yeah, you know, it really does. This class in particular, Saban's always looked to the state of Texas for elite talent. We know that Texas is one of the largest talent pools in the country when it comes to elite high school football talent. And Saban really went in and knocked a dent in the state of Texas for 2021. I mean, you're looking at 3 or 4 guys, maybe even a couple more than that are ranked right up near the top in the nation for their respective positions. Saban went in there and grabbed them up. The Brockemeyer twins, Jalen Milroe, the #1 dual threat quarterback in the state of Texas. Big names coming out of Texas, and a big year for the Tide in Texas indeed.
MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game we all love each and every day with the best bloggers, broadcasters, and writers in the nation. We got Ricky Green on the line from Tide Talk Sports. So it's TideTalkSports.com. And also you can catch up with his YouTube channel here, Tide Talk Sports.
That's
all
right.
In regards to the recruiting class overall, what stands out to you? What do you like? It's a wealth of talent again, #1 across the board.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It is top to bottom, completely full of talent. Unbelievable class. If Alabama is able to secure a commitment from Jayden Roberts and add one more elite player to the class in February, which I believe they will, we're talking about the greatest college football recruiting class of all time, knocking out that 2010 Florida Gators class, of course, that currently holds that top spot. So it's just been an incredible year. This coaching staff at Alabama is exactly what Nick Saban wants when you're talking about getting to have continuity on the staff and familiarity between the staff and all these recruits and their families. Having that continuity on the staff has really started to show for this 2021 class. We've got some of the best recruiters in the nation, and they're bringing in the top talent. And not just that, though, Mark. When it comes to developing these guys, we know Alabama's top of the line as far as that's concerned. So definitely a time for Alabama fans to be excited. This dynasty is nowhere near dead yet, and it looks like we'll continue to have success on the recruiting trail and on the field as long as the GOAT is in Tuscaloosa.
Devontae Smith has turned himself into from recruit to hero of a national championship game, and now to superstar, to possibly the best player in college football, and that will be decided by the Heisman voters, but certainly electric. The workload on him increased when Jaylen Waddle, of course, left the game against Tennessee a number of weeks back. We didn't know how that would impact the Alabama receiving core and the passing effectiveness. It doesn't seem to have done much to it. Just Devontae Smith has just exploded even more. But certainly it would be tremendous to have Jaylen Waddle back in the lineup for Notre Dame and Clemson and or Ohio State. So your thoughts about Jaylen Waddle, because there are hopes out there that he might make an appearance back here in 2021.
Well, first of all, I'll say this. If Jaylen Waddle is able to make a return, you might as well go ahead and mail that trophy to Tuscaloosa. I mean, we're talking about a guy here that is nearly unguardable. You can't defend him at times, and it's just crazy, the athletic ability that he has and the ability to stretch the field. It's definitely something Alabama has missed since he went down, but Steve Sarkisian, being the brilliant offensive coordinator that he is, has done a tremendous job making up for that lost production. We've seen guys like Jaleel Billingsley step up in a very, very big way. Sophomore tight end Jaleel Billingsley has kind of been that guy that shared that extra work with Smitty since Waddles went down. And I think that if we are able to have Jaylen Waddle back, it would just almost be completely unfair at this point for the rest of college football.
Jaylen Waddle in limited time, 25 catches, 4 touchdowns, the number that pops out to everyone, 22.3 yards per catch. So you rarely see that figure anywhere in college football. And then amplify that because he's doing that against the SEC and all SEC schedule. I would love for anybody out there to find us a figure on a wide receiver catching for 22 yards per reception in the SEC. I'm not saying it's never happened, but to my recollection, that's an unreal number.
Absolutely. And that's credit to Jaylen Waddle, but also a unit that's not getting a lot of talk that needs to be talked about is this offensive line for Alabama. They're giving Mac Jones time to stand back in that pocket, survey the field, and Mac's done a really good job this year of taking what the defense has given him. And I think that offensive line is really key when you're talking about the production that Jaylen had. Having a clean pocket for Mac Jones is a dangerous necessity, and Alabama has been able to do that.
You're talking our talk there, Ricky. We like to highlight the offensive line. They don't get nearly enough credit. In my estimation, it's the most important unit on the field, requires the most chemistry, the most cohesiveness. Those players have to be versatile. You're mixing up guards and tackles. A lot of those guys have to step up and play multiple positions because of injuries and rotation. And it's what's asked of those guys is phenomenal. That being the case, you lose one of the best at center for the national championship. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. For the college football playoff against Notre Dame, lose one of the very best.
Yeah, it hurts anytime you lose a guy like Landon Dickerson. He's not just the center on this offensive line. He is the anchor, the guy that was responsible for all the communication, calling the protections, making the adjustments that are necessary. He was kind of the heartbeat of this offensive line. And I believe that Chris Owens, senior offensive lineman, we saw him fill in for Evan Neal at right tackle a couple of weeks ago, will be the guy that steps into that center spot and really tries to hold it together in Landon's absence. He and Landon are very, very close, and I believe that Owens will do everything in his power to make Landon proud and to hold that spot down as Alabama sets its eyes towards another national championship.
MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game we love. Please like, comment, share the videos out there on social media. A lot of people out there that follow you, maybe on Twitter or Facebook, have no idea we're around. So share the videos and subscribe. Hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live, which is just about each and every day, typically multiple times per day. It's great to have Ricky Green on the line from TideTalkSports.com. You see him. The reference there on the banner, so check out his work and the rest of the staff there. Got to ask you, with Notre Dame coming up and it being the biggest point spread that we've seen in 7 years at the college football playoff, do Tide fans have any fear, any lack of confidence in this one?
Well, I haven't seen a lot of it, if there is any. And this Alabama-Notre Dame thing goes back a long time, as you and I both know. A game between two of college football's most traditional powerhouse programs. Kelly's got Notre Dame looking pretty good this year, a good quarterback in Ian Book. they've got a couple of tight ends that make me nervous. Now, we're not talking about Kyle Pitts type tight ends, but nonetheless, good, solid, big targets at tight end. And I think that's where Alabama's going to have to really man up on defense, is being able to cover those tight ends across the middle on the short passes, the way that Kelly and Book like to utilize those tight ends.
Yeah, in particular, Mares is just a freshman, but he's kind of built in the mold and has shown the receiving skills of a Zach Ertz type Notre Dame tight end. That's not necessarily burner down the field guy that's going to be Kyle Pitts from the Jimmy Graham mold of almost wide receiver, but more the traditional tight end coming off the inline stance all the time, pretty much. But those guys have made a ton of money in the NFL. So that would be one threat right there. And I got to think, Ricky, had Notre Dame followed up their first performance against Clemson with a win at home with a better showing, not necessarily a win, but a better showing in the rematch with Trevor Lawrence and the three defensive starters back for Clemson, that people would be taking them more seriously because they were getting a lot of respect up until that ACC championship game.
Yep, no doubt about it. I think that, you know, in the day and age that we live in, perception is reality, and people saw them struggle against Clemson in that second matchup. And I believe that that absolutely has a lot to do with the fact that Alabama fans don't seem to be too awful nervous about this upcoming meeting between Alabama and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Is there any kind of preference in regard to the next game in meeting either Clemson or Ohio State?
I'll kind of lean a little bit personal here. I feel like we still owe Ohio State one. You know, we had that brain fart episode where we completely forgot that we could run the ball the last time we played Ohio State in the playoffs. A lot of big talk coming out from up north. So I personally would like to see us get that matchup with the Buckeyes and take care of business there.
Yeah, that rematch should have actually come the next year when Ohio State was a consensus #1 most of the season, tripped up against Michigan State. Alabama tripped up against Ole Miss, but they were given an entryway to Atlanta in the SEC championship game, but the Buckeyes loss cost them more. And instead, it was Michigan State and an inferior roster taking on Alabama. I think that would have been the, you know, both teams were NFL teams, basically. Would have loved to have seen that rematch. But we'll possibly get one later here, or it's against Clemson, of course. Got Ricky Green on the line, TideTalkSports.com. Ricky, we appreciate you stopping by so much. Have the rest of your holiday with your family. Appreciate that. And look forward to a possible good national semifinal here against Notre Dame.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to hearing Jayden Roberts' announcement this afternoon. Lots to be excited about for Alabama fans. And Mark, I appreciate you having me on, buddy.